Hello again and welcome to another Kipper Tales. As you remember, in the last video we had quite a lot of engine issues, mainly with air getting into the fuel system, and it was not until late November that I actually got the chance to get out and test the boat properly. So as you can see, I'm running solo here, and the plan is I'm going to head upriver to towards Benton Castle, mostly engine, because after all that's the source of the problem, but I decide really that I'm going to spend the night out on the hook, which is going to be the first attempt for me with Kipper, so it should be a new experience. Running solo can always be a bit of a handful, but until you look back over the video you don't really appreciate how many jobs there are to do. Well, with the boat squared away at last, it's time to get some rag up and press on upriver. Bit of a strong headwind really, but a bit of head sail and we'll see how we get on. Anyway, beating up a river in a boat like Kipper is never going to be easy, because really at heart she's a motor sailor. But by this time I was pretty much convinced that the engine was working quite well. So it was time to kick back, relax, ease off the revs a little bit, and just enjoy the late afternoon as I make my way up the river. So I've just been checking out the anchorage that I've got proposed for tonight. A little bit fresh on the wind, a little bit more than it was originally forecasting. But we're at a little bit on a sort of committed side here a bit, especially, you know, being solo. If I was 2 up or plus, I'd probably, you know, run back down to the berth and stay there tonight. Well, at least, you know, with 2 of us we could get in pretty quick. But my proposal is to stay here at Benton Castle, or near Benton Castle anchorage tonight. So I'm just pressing up past, well, we've still got a little bit of daylight here. It's not even 4 o'clock in the afternoon yet, but it's light's fading fast. A lot of dark cloud behind me, and you know, I think it could be a bit wet later on. So the proposal is to scoot on past, and then we'll probably go engine on again, back up into the anchorage and sort of make sure we've got the hook in as well. So that's the plan at the moment. Well, with daylight fading fast, it was time to head back up to the anchorage, and right on cue, the wind freshened as well. Well, as I made for the anchorage, my worst fears were realised really. I started to notice a power fall off. Now at first I thought, is it the tide? But then I realised that the engine was pretty much flat out and we weren't actually making a great deal of way at all. So there was obviously still an engine problem. Well, we managed to scrape our way into the anchorage, and investigation revealed that there was still air in the system, so I'm afraid that's work ongoing. Well, some very dark clouds told of a wet night ahead possibly, and you can already hear the wind is freshening up quite nicely. But minutes later, it's gone again. Very, very strange. So it looked like a very changeable night ahead of us. Okay, well, it's 6:30 in the evening now, and I arrived at the anchorage just after 5 o'clock. Well, sorry, just before 5 o'clock. Light was going fast, and took 3 or 4 attempts to get the anchor the way I wanted it. It was set well first time, but unfortunately it left me sat in slightly shallower water than I wanted to be, as you just saw. So I reset the whole thing, moved the whole boat forward again, so reset it in about nearly 11 meters. But once that 6 meters, nearly 7 meters of tide disappears, you know, I'm going to feel a bit more comfortable that we've got enough water underneath us. At the moment, the tide is ebbing quite heavily. In fact, it's ebbing so fast that it's turning the boat around more to the tide than to the wind, and there's a good breeze out there right now. Not a huge breeze, but you're certainly noticing it tonight, that's for sure. So I finally got around to getting the kettle on at last. Like I say, it's 4:45 by the time I sort of got set, and I've been trying to do things since, like, you know, getting the dinghy sorted out, make sure that's secure, getting an emergency anchor rigged up just in case. You know, it's belts and braces, but at the end of the day I'd rather be safe than sorry, really. And so, with daylight fading fast, it was an opportunity to get some transits or something I could use for bearings to see whether I was drifting, and then basically start settling in for the night. Problem is, there's nothing around to actually get any marks with, apart from a few lights. Well, that's about it for night vision, folks. I've got a light in the distance. When that guy goes to bed, I'm buggered, because he'll probably turn the light off unless it's some sort of outside lamp. Just here in the haze, you can't really see it, but there's the end of the headland. Rocks are just sticking back out again now, so the tide is well on its way out now. Looking north, the best I could do was a farm, but again, same problem. If he turns the light out, I've had it. But it's back to the old GPS just in case. But I'm always a belts and braces person, so having the bearings just gives you that confidence. A night on the hook gives you the opportunity to try out some of the things you don't get to use very often. For example, the deck light. I've never actually used it in anger, so it was a nice opportunity to see how it works and just how well it does light up the deck. Also, my very Heath Robinson anchor light, which actually looks pretty cool.